Hi guys, I hope everybody is well. It's been a while, it's been some time. Hope everybody has settled into the new year well and is hitting the ground running, attacking those goals. I haven't posted for a while, I haven't done any videos in a while, and that is because it has been intense, it has been busy, it's been a very busy first month. I have been hitting the ground running and making sure that I am working towards all the milestones and the goals that I'd set from before the new year, and just sitting with God and making sure that He is at the helm of everything. I know for some that might seem like a bit much, but one thing I have now learned on this journey, especially moving into purpose, is that there's no nothing without Him. Without Him at the helm, you're going to fall flat. You might get some success for a period, you might be able to work towards something or build something, but in order to sustain it, you've got to be intentional with God and have that relationship and have that dialogue going. So yeah, there's been a lot of that and just allowing Him to guide steps. And I've been feeling quite peaceful about it. And I think that is because I have been intentional in my conversations with Him. And it's made all the difference. I mentioned before that I'd started my new job. That's going really well, but obviously it's taken a lot more time from doing other things like posting videos. I think I'll get a balance eventually, but obviously where it's been my first month, I've had to make sure that I am showing up accordingly in my role, and it's going really well. And I'm also coaching on the side, so I'm doing the health and wellness coaching for my job, but I'm also doing life coaching for my own business, so I'm setting that up as well. So I'll include those details as and when I get my schedule together. So yeah, I'm really, really happy. And I am feeling very blessed and also very comforted, and that, I'm just hearing from Him and being able to, in some degree, be a servant to Him. My job, as I've spoken about before, there were some nerves involved. I'm not sure why, because I did the training and I knew what I had to do, and I genuinely believed I was the person for it. But, these things come with nerves regardless. And every session that I delivered went really, really well. But prior to the sessions, I would get a little bit nervous. So I really dug deep and discussed it with God. I was like, what's behind this? And He sent me a sermon. I knew it was from Him because it wasn't one that I would ordinarily listen to. And it was only like 20 minutes long. But it spoke about when you're stepping into new and when you're stepping into purpose, and when you have these feelings of inadequacy, that it is always in relation to God. Sometimes we give the devil too much credit and think we're being attacked. But in fact, it's God allowing you to know that this can't be done without Him, and that for no part of anything that's of Him that He sent you into should you try to do it without Him. And the minute you don't have those feelings, the minute you think I've got this, it's easy to fall into, I can do this on my own, or I'm that person, I'm that guy. And the reality is none of us are. So once I had that understanding, it shifted my perspective so much. Although I'd still feel a bit nervous, I didn't have the angst behind it. And I continue to pray to Him, pray and speak to Him before every session. I continue to now. But in terms of my delivery and how I'm able to show up for my service users and clients, I am just in awe, and I know that He has equipped me. I know 150% that He has equipped me. And I say this to say, I want my message today to be that God will equip you accordingly. Whatever He's called you to do, He will equip you accordingly, and He will make the provisions you need. All too often we feel like we can't start because we haven't got what we need, but He doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. So whatever it is that we need in order to do what He's asked us to do or what He requires us to do, He will give us the provision. And that's been in terms of my ability to deliver the sessions, and that's also been in terms of my other stuff, even my equipment at home. I mean, when I started this YouTube journey, if you look at my first video, it was very much off the cuff, like I hadn't planned it. And so I was using my daughter's ring light, I was using my son's microphone, And I just had to get on with it because he had, downloaded to me that day that this is what we're going to do. And since then, I've obviously done more videos. But over the Christmas period, he did send me a little blessing. And it was in that blessing he told me, no, don't pay for stuff. Don't, buy anything for the kids. Now's the time to get those little bits you thought you needed. So I was able to get some new equipment, some lighting, microphone, a new camera. I haven't started using that yet, but and a nice desk just to set up, because I was, stacking up boxes to put the ring light on and stuff like that. You just make it work to start with. Sometimes we feel like we've got to have it all before we start. We feel like we've got to have the beautiful setup. We've got to have the professional looking setup. And as I've stated in previous videos, that's not the case at all. And I know for fact, based on how organic this whole journey and this whole shift and all these changes have come about, we cannot hang on to the perception of perfection before we step out. We just got to go with what we've got, and God will provide accordingly. And the thing is, if you wait until you're in that place of perfection, or what you deem to be perfect, you'll never start, because he's not going to give you the provision, because he needs to know and see that you're willing to do the work. And as you start taking the steps, he'll meet you with what he needs. And I've seen it this whole month. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to post more, which I would have liked to kind of bring you on the journey a bit, but it was definitely quiet time. It was definitely time in the quiet room with him. And it's not just been in terms of my posting, even in terms of my social life. I've been in the quiet room with him, making sure he is ordaining his steps. And the reason I had to be so intentional about it is because I was making a complete shift in my career, which I've mentioned before. But I also needed to make sure that it was he was at the helm of it, and that he approved of each step I was taking. What we have to also be careful of, and I've seen a few sermons about this of late, which is why I think he was sending the message, is that we have to be careful of idol worship. When we make some achievements, when we elevate in our life, it's good for it's a beautiful thing. But it's easy for the internal chest to swell. Even if the exterior is looking humble, it's easy for the internal chest to start swelling and us thinking that we've got this. Don't ever think that, because you will find out. Yeah, you will find out. And so that intentional time with him and being in the quiet room with him has made me, it's allowed for the relationship to just be growing as I have put myself in these elevated situations, as I am going into these new circles, as I am pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Even though I am achieving, I know that none of this is possible without him, and I won't even try. I won't play in God's face like that to even think for a minute, I've got this. And some might be saying, well, that's not true. Yes, it is, because put us behind the wheel of a nice car, especially us as black folk. Put us behind the wheel of a nice car. What's the first thing that happens to us? Exactly. And it's not that he doesn't want us to have nice things. It's not that he doesn't want us to have success. It's the heart posture that we have in those moments. We just need to remain humble in it. It's not that he won't bless us accordingly. He knows when our hearts are ready to receive that blessing. And that's why he will provide accordingly to the works that we have done in our faith journeys. We have to step out in faith. We have to start taking those initial steps that say, hey God, yep, I trust you. I don't know what it's going to look like, but we have to step out in faith. Faith without works is dead. So yes, I know a lot of us are waiting for our blessing, but what are we doing? Understand he will provide accordingly, but we can't sit waiting for it to happen. We've got to do our part. And I can assure you, I can attest that the minute you start doing your bit, he's going to meet you. The whole month in regards to my job, he's done it. Even when, like I said, even the little things of what he made me set up in the background. So obviously there was a delay in my pay coming, because obviously when you start that first month it takes, and then the cut off, and then the following month, where I'd already set up the eBay, and that started to go hard over the Christmas period. And after, I think the sales must have been quite poor, so that started to pop off, so I had enough income. And I'm not saying this to brag, I'm saying that he makes the provisions, he will provide accordingly, but I had to be obedient. And if I had waited till Christmas to put those things on, they wouldn't have been in the algorithm in terms of people knowing they were there, so they may not have sold in time. All the timing was perfect. I did that in the months before so I could focus on my training and what I needed to execute in the new year by then. But then all those things were selling off in the background, so I had enough income coming in. And then obviously I started the job. As I said, I had my nervous parts where I felt a little bit, not inadequate, but like, who am I to really be leading these people? When in fact, when I've shown up, the feedback I've got from the service users, the feedback I've got from my clients so far is so positive. I now know for sure I was purposed to do this, but that was God giving me that provision, and that was God showing me accordingly. And then in terms of just, being able to show up for you guys on YouTube, I don't know who's going to benefit from this, and I'm not trying to overthink it. But I know that he said to me, all right, now you can get some equipment because you have been steady with this so far. And so I did that. He will give us the provision we need, and even the capacity, the mental capacity and the physical capacity to still show up for home. He's been so gentle and kind with me with that. The way my work schedule and everything works around my kids, I know for fact he's behind that, and he doesn't forget the things we need to show up for, and he will give us the exact provision that we need. Yeah, understand that. God will provide accordingly. Don't overthink it. So often we do. I've been guilty before, so I know. But don't overthink it. Understand, if you take those steps, he will provide accordingly. And if he's not, then it may not be a direction he wants you to go in. But be okay with being open enough to hear from the Holy Spirit, so you know, because you know when you get that nudge. So in terms of fitness, that's going well. I initially struggled in the first couple of weeks of the year because I had so much newness starting, and so fitting it in was a little bit difficult. However, I have now changed my gym routine. The times that I'm going to the gym have switched up a little bit. I don't know how long that will last for, but it's working right now, and so I'm just going to go with that and keep going. And very different, but I feel, based on how I feel after and just how consistent I've managed to be, I know it's the right way at the moment. So yes, I hope everybody is still going on their journeys and still working towards their goals. I know it's easy to get caught up in the hype of the new year and easily fall off. I can see the shift in the gym already, but keep going, because as you can see, we're at the end of Jan already, and so time's going to go very quickly. And what you don't want is at the end of this year, but you're still in the same place. You don't want to be there. You want to have done some of the work. And my hope is, once I get my schedule up and running properly with my own coaching sessions, in addition to my job, that I'm able to give some more structure and tips as to how we can make small sustainable changes to our lives so that we can work towards our goals. But I hope everybody's well, and I just wanted to touch base before the end of the month. But look after yourselves, keep going and keep working towards those goals. Speak soon, take care, bye.